Namaste, everyone. While we go through this life, we need to be well grounded. And today's subject is enlightenment or escapism. Throughout my life, I have noticed so many people come to something spiritual, all right, or something religious because they think they think, oh my God, I'm going to get enlightened overnight. I want enlightenment. I want nirvana. They see and hear all these fancy words in Buddhism and Hinduism and Catholicism, the Holy Spirit, and we want the enlightenment. But in order to get enlightenment, you have chosen first to come here. You have to remember that you chose to come into the body that you have, and you chose to come into this life to fulfill a human mission using the spiritual knowledge. Enlightenment doesn't mean that you sit down and meditate for 2 years and, oh, I know I'm not this body, I'm enlightened, I'm connected with the God, I am the guru. It doesn't look anything like that. When you're enlightened, it means that peace flows from your heart, that you are very human in one instant and you are very divine in the other. It's really, Lord Jesus couldn't have put it more clearly for us. When he said, I am in this world, but not of this world. But he had to be in this world. He had to experience the pain. He had to experience the love. He had to experience the discipleship. He had to experience the energy. And what he taught us really was so beautiful. And what he did with his life was really teach us the greatest lesson of all. He died on the cross. Right? I love the way my master explains this. He said the I crossed out. I just loved it. He wasn't selfish, it's the I crossed out. Not because of anything else, but to show us and teach us that we're beyond human suffering. It's just that we got so involved in the body. And when you are in human suffering, how do you become enlightened? When you bear it without causing pain. That's the lesson he taught, right? Oh, my Father in heaven, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They know not what they do. And this gives you the freedom, even from pain, the extreme pain. And that was the great lesson on the cross. He crossed out his eye to teach us that ultimately, you see, all this is life is just like a play. It is like a show. Without Judas, there's no Jesus, is there? So he understood. He really understood that Judas was going to betray him. He knew it. That's why he prayed. He knew he was going to be sold for 30 pieces of silver. And still he allowed it because he saw his mission very clearly, because he was a self-realized soul. He was enlightened. And his mission was really to give of himself, to teach us that we can all do it. That just because you're enlightened, it doesn't mean you stop being human. So a lot of people come into spirituality, come into yoga to escape from life. It's not about escaping. So what do? Oh, I want to be so spiritual. So they start doing all these practices. And then they want to, I'm going to get enlightened. Of course, it doesn't happen so easily. It's like everything else. You have to work on yourself. It's like everything else. If you want to be a good pianist, you got to practice, right? You want to be a good dancer, you got to dance. You love IT, you got to go to university, or you need to study it all day long, right? So everything. So you want to know about your spirit, you have to work on yourself. The wonderful thing about spiritual knowledge is everything you need is right here. Your best psychologist, your best master, your best teacher, and your best friend, but also at the same time, your worst enemy is within you, not outside, it's within. So escapism. So a lot of people come to yoga, and I learned that very early on when I started traveling with my father to India, to different pilgrimage places. And I saw a lot of people, they couldn't face their life, they couldn't face their families, they couldn't face their responsibilities. So they would go into these ashrams and leave their families and say, well, you know, I had to leave my husband and my children like Buddha did. I said, are you Buddha? Are you Buddha? And they leave their families, they leave their homes, not because they really want enlightenment, it's because they want to run away. And of course, you can never run away from who you are. Did you get that? You can never run away from you. Can you run away from your thoughts? You can run away from everybody, but you can never run away from these thoughts. And that's one thing my master taught me very early on. He said, Nalanie, fix yourself. There's nobody to fix. There is nowhere to run. You can run to all the ashrams in the world and go anywhere in the world, but if you are not at peace, you will never feel at home with God. So find the peace within you. All these places are good because they are respite places. Retreats are respite places. They make you rest and absorb the spirit. So when you go out in the world, you can be a better human being. You can serve, love, give, and it comes naturally, flowing, not with fear, not with... Because once you are enlightened, you lose your fear. What do you lose your fear? Why do you lose your fear? Because you realize when you are enlightened, guess what? That even your body doesn't belong to you. Even your body doesn't belong to you. Even this mind doesn't belong to you. But it's a wonderful instrument. It is an instrument which... What do you know? Neuroscience is telling us today that we can rewire. We can change our language. Well, yoga said this, what? Thousands of years ago, Pratipaksha Bhavana replaced the negative thoughts with positive. As you think, so you become. If you say, I'm scared all the time, what will you become? Scared. If you say, okay, I'm in fear, but my fear is here to teach me something. So I need to face it rather than run and escape. Do you see? Because if you escape, you will never respect yourself. You will never love yourself, and you will always feel lost in two worlds. But if you face it, talk to your fear and realize you chose this journey in life to learn something. This was your journey. You chose it. Nobody put you in this body, in this place. You are a sum total of all your lifetimes put into this body, which, thank God, all of you in this room and all of you on Zoom have beautiful bodies and beautiful minds. Wow, we should be living in gratitude continuously rather than looking at running away from our problems. We should be looking at, wow, I have the equipment to face them. And when you face them, and you know there's this saying in English, every failure is a stepping stone towards success. Every failure. So we shouldn't fear failure. So when you listen to all these sayings, never cry over spilt milk. This is all yogic. It's that simple. It's not difficult. We make it difficult. We think enlightenment means, oh my God, I'm going to meditate for 2 years and I'm going to reach the divine. I'm sorry, all the masters showed me otherwise. And that's where I decided to take my teachings from. The great masters, I watched my master. What was he as a human being? He was an enlightened being. But when he built the ashram, he was the one who drew the sketches for the big lotus. He worked in a, what do you call it, a crane and bulldozer, called bulldozer. He dug the ground himself. He had all these hippies on drugs that he took on as disciples that nobody in the earth wanted, and half of them was suicidal, and he loved them, and they in turn, all they were looking for was that magic ingredient called love, and they in return helped him to build this ashram, and they were happy. He was happy, and he loved every moment because he thought every student was divine. Everybody that came to him was loved, and they felt that, and they transformed. They realized that the drugs gave them temporary highs, but they couldn't stay there. And this is another way of escapism today. People are talking about ayahuasca, they're talking about mushrooms. Oh, Nalanie, it does help. I'm not saying that it doesn't help some people. All I'm saying is you need something outside to make you go on a high. One day you might get so high that you can never come down again. I have also seen in my lifetime schizophrenia in people who've had heavy doses of drugs, and then one day they're mind altering, right? Mind altering. Do you want to give your power away? For me, this is really scary. And I'm very, very grateful that I studied in the States. I was studying fine arts with child psychology. And at that time, I was dating a psychologist. And he got me a volunteer job at the drug rehabilitation. And there, I saw young people, 15, 16, 25, up to 30. I was only 18 myself, 17, 18. I saw them like lying on the floor. They lost their brains from all the drug intake. They neither belong to this world nor to that world. And it was horrific. And I saw these people in another place have been put in a mental asylum, but they were not crazy. They just overdid it. For me, this is enlightenment. I mean, because what do we do with our human birth if we don't raise ourselves by ourselves? You know, I'm not saying everybody has to be a Mother Teresa or a Swami Satchidananda or whatever. What I'm saying is to be enlightened is to live in a state of awareness that we are human, so we have to live our human life as best as we can, and we will make mistakes. Okay? I have seen my master get angry, very angry. And I thought, why is he doing that? But there was a reason for his anger. It was to correct a behavior. Do you see? So we read things and we think we have to be so perfect in order to be enlightened. The truth is, you only have to be so perfect in your heart to be enlightened. You just have to, you may be correcting somebody, but you love them. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're truthful. That's why you tell them, only because you love them. Because most of the people would rather lie and say, oh, so what? No big deal. And oh, this one gets me so irritated. I don't think anybody deserves lies, do you? I think we need to be truthful even to ourselves. And you can do that in so much love. But sometimes when people don't listen, you can apply anger so that they move. So what I'm trying to show you, enlightenment is not escapism. Why do you think I love the text, the Bhagavad Gita? For those who haven't read it, don't worry, one day I will teach it. Because here you have a person, Arjuna is his name, best warrior, so smart, so kind, so loving, studied being a warrior because he was just good at it and to protect his country. And of course, if you're a warrior, what you're going to get? Wars. So he had his own family attacked him and made him and his whole family suffer for 15 years. And they had promised that after 14 years, they would get back everything they owned. But instead, the enemy, his own family, refused to return what they had taken. So he had no choice, but he had to go into war. And the whole Gita is about how he goes to war with his family. What he doesn't want to do, he tells Lord Krishna, please, can I run away? I don't want to fight with my family. I don't want to face it. And Lord Krishna tells him, you can't be a coward. You can't, you know the story, the children's story, you can't go under it. You can't go over it. You have to go through it to get the other side. If you don't protect the good, who will? Sorry, you got this job. It's a painful job. And when I look at every single human being in my life, Everybody has, at some point in their life, a painful job. Either with yourself, mostly it's with yourself. The outside world has come to make you recognize the things in yourself, because you can't change anybody. You have to change yourself. So the whole battle is, Lord Krishna is teaching Arjuna the way to enlightenment. And what does he tell him? This is how you go into the battle, not with anger, not with fear, not with guilt, not with worry. This battle has come to you. You didn't want it, but it's come. This is because of your past karmas. Now, how do you battle? With love in your heart. And how do you battle with love in your heart? By knowing that the divine is in you, and this is just a part of the play, and you've been given this part. So do your part without complaining. And he gets through the war, but the whole Bhagavad Gita, which is too long to explain, is the divine, representing the divine within us, telling us how to go about difficult situations in our life. We have to go through them, and when we go through them, and we get through them, and we realize it's all a lesson in love. It's all a lesson to make us grow, and it's not any punishment, and we are not being picked on, and there's no God hurting us. But when we reach that highest energy of love, we will be successful in these wars, because why? Our intention is to serve and not to cause harm. And not to fear those battles that come into our life, because they will. I keep telling spiritual people, you can't run away from a situation, because it'll keep coming back again and again and again and again. So know yourself well. You want enlightenment? Yeah, you need to spend time with yourself. That's what you need to do. You need to make spaces in your day to get in touch with the divine force. That you need to do. You need to work with your mind stuff. Is it overthinking? And when I sit in love and I sit in peace, I connect with God. And that made me so happy. So I'm so sorry. So don't be sorry. I mean, it's a journey, isn't it? A journey. I'm so sorry for the horrible things I did to so many people in my life. But it's part of the journey. It made me remember and think, I never want to hurt anybody again this way. I didn't know better. I was in ignorance. And this to me is enlightenment. Now I'm enlightened. I know that when I hurt somebody else, I'm actually hurting me more. It's like when you shout at somebody else, when you go to yourself, you don't feel good about yourself. I'm hurting me more because I'm living with this pain in my heart. And on top, I've hurt somebody else. So you see, this is as when you practice this path, bit by bit, and it happens slowly. And my master used to say, please don't rush this. I used to ask him, Gurudev, please, can I do more pranayama? Can I extend the meditation time? I was meditating 3 hours a day, right? And running a family, and running a shop, and teaching in the evening, all right? And I would say, can I meditate more in a day? And he was saying to me, you are doing what you need to do. Can I learn more breathing practices? Can I do more of this? You are doing what you needed to do. And I said, oh no, I must be needing to do more. But the more was here. Do you see? He was right. I just needed to love where I was and just be grateful that I was where I was, and there was nothing to do but be in that presence. As I always say, Eckhart Tolle says, be in the now. Learn to be in the now with love. Because that's all we have. I think he said it so succinctly. What all the great saints and sages have been trying to teach us for generations. Just try and be happy with who you are now. This is who you are now. This is your problem now. Is there a solution? There is a solution to every problem. This is the road to enlightenment is not a dead end. There is never a dead end. So long as you can change your thinking, there is a light ahead of you. You are never a dead end because you're divine in yourself. You came from that consciousness. You came from that one. And if you really need proof, read science. We all come from consciousness. Oh, Big Bang they call it. We say in the Hindu scriptures, Lord Vishnu, which represents that great one, went to sleep and we are the dream. When he wakes up, we'll be back to that one. And why all this? Because we wanted to play. And also the book by Neil MacDonald Walsh, it's a children's book that speaks about this story. And Anna reminded me of it the other day. Was it Anna or was it Daya? One of you anyway. And the story goes like this. There is this soul, and the soul is living in the divine creation, the consciousness, and it's peaceful, and it can see everything that's going on in all the different earths. And the soul goes to the light and says, oh, I want to go to earth. And the light goes, why do you want to go to earth? You're so happy, peaceful here. Yeah, but there's nothing to do. And I can see on earth people are struggling and they're going through such a difficult time. And I want to learn, to teach that I can forgive. I want to teach people that I can forgive, like Lord Jesus, right? That you can forgive. And I want to experience that emotion. So the great light, the great master said, do you really want to go to earth to do that? Yes, but then we have to find another soul who really wants to take the role of causing you so much pain that you have to learn to forgive that soul. So we have to find another light who wants to go back to earth with you. It's a contract. So this little light goes around to all the light souls and says, will you come with me to earth? Oh, no, I'm so peaceful here. Will you come? I want to experience what it is like to forgive. And finally, this female soul comes to it and says, I'm happy to go to earth. And I'm happy to take the part of the person who causes you so much pain. But I ask one thing in return. And he goes, what do you want in return? That when I cause you so much pain, that you really forgive me. I know it's nothing to do with me, but it's to do with what you wanted to learn to do. Got it? Will you remember that you need to forgive me? And they agreed, and they made the contract to earth. So I believe, or I know through my own life, through the people that have caused me pain, and the science of yoga has taught me, and everybody who's studied it, how to accept the pain and transcend the mind. The mind sometimes will have horrible thoughts. We are human. What you learn in this practice is, yeah, this is my mind, it's going crazy, but you learn to watch it. And you forgive it because you know it's just the mind. It's not you that you really love. Have any of you experienced this? Let me give you an example. You really don't like someone. You really think you don't like them and you're having problems with them. And then suddenly you hear something really awful. They're going to die, or they're going to be sick, or they've got cancer. And have you ever experienced the feeling, oh, I'm so sorry for them. I wish I didn't feel that way. Have you ever experienced that? It's an awful feeling. Why do you experience that? Because deep in your heart, you know you're connected. You know the soul knows. These are people who are really already spiritual in this birth. They're not very material. Of course, you have those people who are very material, and they wouldn't even think that. Thought, oh, good for you, you're going. So there are many types of people living in this earth, and there needs to be for us to learn. So, like I said, in my life, I have learned that everybody has come to teach us. And isn't it sad that we have to get hurt to wake up to who we are? Sometimes we have to be beaten by ourselves or others to wake up to our inner power. See, many times in our life, we give our power away. You can heal me. You can enlighten me. Enlightenment is here within you. My master always said to me, the peace is already there. You just need to take away the gross stuff. You just need to remove all this stuff. The peace is already there. Don't think you need to go anywhere to look at it. And if you recognize yourself, and this is why it's important to spend time in contemplation, or what we call dharana. Because when you are in those times, when you're really in a good place, you could just be by sitting in a garden, or sitting with a loved one and drinking a glass of water, and this peace rises in your heart, and you just go, it's a beautiful day. There's just a beautiful day. And you just feel so in connection with everything, right? Where did it come from, that feeling? In the moment of quiet, in that moment of connection. So enlightenment is connection. I really don't know what enlightenment is, by the way. I don't know if I should be the one to talk to you about that. All I know is when I take full responsibility for my growth and my failures, and I don't blame anybody else, and I can change the mind stuff here, I feel great. I feel connected. When I feel that love and not that anger, I am connected. When I don't lie, so I can't say I lie, but when I do something that is not nice, I feel disconnect with that divine energy. And enlightenment is, because we're humans, we're going to come in and out of enlightenment. When you're totally enlightened, it is quite difficult for many souls to live in this world. Mostly they drop their bodies, all right? Mostly they drop their bodies. Not everybody. That's why we have these great masters like Lord Jesus, we got Buddha, and for me, Swami Satchidananda, they're kind of, for me, superior souls. And they can live in that enlightenment and still come to the lower energy fields. Because you have to deal with dark a lot, and that absorbs your energy field. When you go to a home that's full of negative energy, what does it do to you? When you go into your own home and your partner is like down, what does it do to your energy field? It saps it, right? So these great souls allow the energy to be sapped in order for us to grow and get the energy. This is why, but they're able to maintain that strength at the same time, because they know it is not coming from them. They know that energy is coming from a divine source, and that's enlightenment. This is why when, sometimes people go, oh, you healed me. I don't have magic. You needed to be healed, and maybe I was the instrument to pass it on to you. But I don't have that ownership. That energy isn't mine. And yes, it's come through me, so thank you for that great gift of being the instrument. It was not mine. I know that so clearly. It's your faith, and I'm just the instrument. This is why in spiritual growth, it is so important to have faith. Faith really that the divine is in you. It took me a lot of years to understand that. And I was very grateful for a master who kept on giving me these one-liners to make me understand that really the connection was inside me and that I'm truly divine. That's why I make you all say Namaste every time now. Because the divine in me recognizes the divine in all of you, and the divine in you recognizes the divine in me. By constantly repeating that, you can judge the sin, not the sinner. Do you get that? That person's mind is sick, but the soul is divine. The mind is sick, but the soul is divine. That keeps reminding you, because when your mind is sick, you also have to say, but I am divine. You have to remember that. You have to respect that, because that is our gift, and this is why the connection to God or divine or Jesus or whatever you want to call it is so important. Or don't even give it a name. I believe Sir Francis Bacon, who wrote a lot of poetry and plays, called his divine inside him Beatrix. Give it a name if you need to give it a name, but and this is contemplation. You learn to see that the place you can find it is within you. So what stops you from being enlightened? Your own mind. You can't run away from it. Yes, like I said, a lot of people coming to yoga and they'll tell you to take all kinds of drugs. I am totally against it. Why am I totally against it? Because of what I saw as a child, right? As a teenager. Not only that, I know they work on your nervous system. I know they work on our brain cells. It's physically and scientifically proven. Your brain becomes dull. And like my master said, when you have the best gift of all inside of you, why would you like something else to be stronger than what you have, to take over you? Build up this inner strength. Then when you build it up, you like yourself, you respect yourself, you feel strong. And if you are strong, you can help so many others to be strong. Say, oh, she did it, I can do it too. Do you see? And in order for them to see it, they have to see you go through a terrible time. They have to see you go through the suffering and get through it, to know that they can go through the suffering and get through it. It's kind of like when my husband passed. It was the most painful time for me, but I got through it with much love, without any blame to anyone, or say, why me? I didn't do any of that. I just accepted the pain. Now, when Chandra saw me do that, when her husband passed away, who she loved so much, she felt, I can do it too. When Julio lost Paddy, he felt, I can do it too. It didn't mean that they didn't feel the pain. The pain was there, but they could do it with much love, and in that way heal. They did not feel punished. There was no why me. There is no victim mode. There's just total acceptance. And that is, for me, enlightenment. To be able to live with pain. Wow, that's the greatest gift, that I can watch the pain and still live. It's exciting, isn't it? You can really say, wow, I probably chose this lesson. And then after he passed, the amount of people that came to see me who'd lost a partner and couldn't deal with life and couldn't heal and wanted to kill themselves and wanted to die, I told them when they came to my office and gave them a reason to be, I said, look at me, I did it, you can do it too. Make yourself happy. Is it okay to laugh? Yes! Your partner doesn't want to see you miserable. He's flying or she's flying and you're there crying. Doesn't make sense. If you believe in spirit, you know that they never die. Yes, of course you feel sad because you miss. You miss after 34 years and with one person. Of course you're going to miss. Or 40 years or 20 years or 5 years. You know? If you have a rich relationship, you're going to miss them. That is a personal egotistical pain, and that's part of life. But that you can get through it and give people hope. You know, this is life. That's all we can do. That you can get through it. And you know, when they thank me, when they get better, and they go, oh, I didn't make the sacrifice. My husband did. I didn't make the sacrifice. He left early to teach me so I could help you. So, really thank him. And I have his picture in my office. And I was, there he is. You can say thank you to him. Died young, 60, for me to learn to serve. So you see, energy is all shared. And when we understand that, then there's no one to blame. And you just see this wonderful, divine, well, you call it God, call it whatever, but I call it this energy called love that doesn't punish, that doesn't decide, that doesn't say good girl or bad girl. It just says when you live in love, you connect with me and you feel the grace. And that to me is enlightenment. You just feel the grace. Whether you like it or not, you will get the grace. And those who don't, who keep getting angry and keep getting bitter and keep running away from the truth and escape and blame God and go into one religion and another religion and one healing and another healing, they just get so disturbed and they have no grace and they have no peace. But is it a fault? No, it isn't a fault. It's just that, no, we're not taught this. So anything you learn, please use it to share with other people. Lift them up. If we're any worth, it's to lift somebody up. No, as Les always tells me, if one soul is reached, your life is worth living. One soul. And it can be the person, and of course the person next to you would be the best one to start with, right? Start small. People tell me, oh, I want to do this and I want to give this to charity and I want to give that to charity. Charity, my master told me, begins at home. If it's not working, fix it. If you can't fix it, there's a solution. There are many solutions. But don't stay stuck in a dark place because life goes very quickly. It doesn't wait for us, okay? And enlightenment is knowing that. Is knowing that our ultimate end game for all of us is death. It is the ultimate end game. So how are you going to live it? And this is enlightenment. To live it beautifully every day. It's not in the great things you do. It's just in the small things you do greatly, says Mother Teresa. Do you see how it is? Sometimes we think we can only be spiritual if we do big things. No, the biggest thing you can do on this earth is just to give this vibration. It's just to give that vibration, but you can't give it if you don't feel it, right? So can't escape from your problem. You have to deal with it. You can't run away from your problem. So when there is a problem, figure it out. This is what you should do. Not overthink it. Figure it out. And then give it time to work. My master also continuously said, Rome was not built in a day. Be patient. You need to have faith. You need to be strong. You need time for contemplation. Contemplation turns into meditation. You don't need to hit yourself all the time because you did something bad in the past. No, you did it, forgive it, just please don't do it again. Don't go down the same rabbit hole. In the lovely book of the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche, I don't know if you've read it, but it's a really brilliant book. It's a Buddhist book, but I love it. And he tells, and I've told this story many times, so with those who have heard it, forgive me. He talks about autobiography in 5 chapters. Chapter 1, I walk down this road. There is a hole. I fall into the hole. It is very dark. I scream, I shout, I scream, I shout. And I can't get myself out. And finally, after many hours, I get myself out. Chapter 2, I walk down this road. I fall into the hole. I realize that screaming and shouting is not going to get me anywhere. I try to remember how I got out the hole. I take some time. I get out of the hole. Chapter 3. I walk down this road. I fall into the hole. I know a shortcut out. I come out quickly. Chapter 4. I walk down this road. I learn to walk on the side of the hole. Chapter 5. I take another street. I loved it. When I heard it, I thought, that's all you have to do, Nalanie. Take the other street. Don't go down the same street again and again and again. You know? And this is exactly how for me enlightenment occurs. Every day a little bit more light. And how do you recognize the light? You start to feel lighter in yourself. You start to feel a flow in your life. Fear gets less. You just lighten up. And you just have this love for humanity. That's one of the wonderful things. People suffering become yours. You feel their pain to be yours. In the beginning, this stage is hard. You have to learn how to non-attach from it. But as you grow, you are with them in their pain, and when they leave, you just love them, and all you want to do is pray for them and just love them through their pain, because they become you. Namaste, they become you. We start to realize that every single person is like every single atom in God's body. So if one atom is sick, we need to nurture and bring that atom out. It's just that it's sick. It's not bad. It's sick. And then you start to feel that, and you see God as this great energy, or this ball. I see it like this great ball, and we are all cells in the body, all of us connected. And as we heal, the earth heals. And this is what we are coming to in this generation. Isn't it really quite beautiful? Many, you see so many beautiful things over the internet, right? So many positive podcasts, so many things to say. We want peace in the world. Then you have the other side of our world, the dark side, saying, be in fear, be in misery. Oh my God, let's lock you up all in these boxes, because then we can control you. We have both sides. But our job is to transcend and be free, and see, like that book, that story, that we chose to learn this freedom. We chose it. And then when you learn to forgive, and when you learn to accept, then, my God, I'm getting better every single day. Then you will be used. You don't even have to ask, what should I do with my life? You really don't even have to ask. The universe will use you. It will change your life around. It will make you do things that you never thought you would be doing. I never thought I'd be doing this, ever. And the universe pushed me, literally pushed me to do this. And I'm very grateful, because I would have never come down this path. I wanted to be a perpetual student, reading books. I loved books. I wanted to study all my life. And then I realized, no matter how much I study, I'd never be able to read all those books in all those libraries in the world. And what is the point of having all that in my head? When I die, no use. It's no use. What is useful on this earth? Knowledge of the self, knowledge on how to live, knowledge of love and light. That was important. So all my reading books I left all my other books behind, my Shakespeare and my Charles Dickens and Somerset Maugham, and all these great writers, T.S. Eliot. Left them all behind. I used to have a whole collection. Oscar Wilde, goodbye. And Sidney Sheldon, fiction. I don't know if you guys are all too young for these books. Dropped them all. I couldn't read them anymore. I just couldn't read them. My soul was so starving for spirit. And what I learned is I learned the most from what I call the great masters. People like Paramahansa Yogananda, people like my master, people like Master Shivananda, so many masters in the generation, Dada Vaswani, Eckhart Tolle, even Louise Hay, Oprah. There are many masters of different energy fields to teach people in different in the different classes of their life, I think, right? So in the beginning, you really should listen to the very early stages. Louise Hay is brilliant because she takes you from psychology to spirituality. Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, takes you from psychology to spirituality, because we can't jump, we can't skip. If you've got a lot of problems up here, some people can. Some people, very few, can get realization like this. But most of us as human beings, we have to sort out our psychological problems first, our emotional problems first, and then get centered. We are living on this earth, and when we do that, as my master would say, live a peaceful, easeful, useful life. So simple. When you have all those three, you feel enlightened. You don't even feel anything else, you feel enlightened. Easeful, peaceful, useful. Easeful, look after your body, do exercise, eat the right food. Peaceful, work on yourself. Bring the peace up, create peace in your life. I mean, there's so much to learn, there's so much to grow. We need to know our human mission. And then we can become enlightened. And for me, there's only one mission. Know that you are divine. And we help our beloved Lord of Light and Love to bring more divinity into this world. In whichever path we are in life, it doesn't matter which job, where you are, where you bring your light to wherever you are. That's all I know. I don't know much more. I have seen people run away to ashrams, become miserable. The pain they had at home, they're worse in other places. They make other people suffer. You know, not everybody can live and run away like that. You have to come back and do it all over again. And there are those who are meant to live in ashrams, whose jobs are to be there, and they try to run away and experience the world. And they can't experience the world because they can't deal with the world. They bring more pain to the world, so they live in ashrams. Do you see what I'm saying? You have to know who you are and what you were born to be and where you are in life. And rather, to me, this is enlightenment and not escapism. You know, most people are wanting to be something else. Oh, you're a great singer, so I'm going to be a singer like you. Oh, you're good at acting, so I want to be an actor like you. Oh, you're good at writing, so I'm going to be a writer. You're chasing straws, do you see? What are you good at? Because everybody is good at something. And I think the best we are good at is being ourselves and not somebody else. Because the moment you start being somebody else, you start making a fool out of yourself. So learn to be yourself and love yourself for what you were given. And use it. Life is short.